Hey guys, I've worked out the little bug that we had with the previous versions of the code door, and it's time for the tutorial now. So in the previous one, if you watched the initial video, when you entered the code, it would spaz out. I think this is a fixed, yeah, but anyways, I fixed the machine. But anyways, if you go back and watch the video, you'll see that it'll start like spazzing out randomly, which is not good for a door. So if you don't know what this is, in my previous video I mentioned it. If you want to go back and watch that, that explains everything. And this is the tutorial where I go a bit more in depth with how it works. This is a more advanced redstone circuit, so you are going to need a bit of previous knowledge to redstone before you attempt this because of the customization that needs to go into it. So, original, it was every other, but I managed to work in block down there. Could have swapped it, doesn't really matter. But anyways, we're going to do a 6 block combo. So let's place the blocks up here. I think this is the correct number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay, so for whichever one, or the top blocks, or where the picture frame is on the top, you need a block behind it. So every other like that, and then you're going to take some comparators, put them on the top blocks, and then for the picture frames on the bottom, down there. And so you've got this. Now you're going to put whatever item in there. Swords or sticks are fairly easy to keep track of for the combination. And yeah, so this is where the more advanced customization part of it comes in. So it's setting the code that's a bit different because how long you make it, and you might have a couple bugs like I had initially. So we're just going to keep it simple and do the same one that I made here. So that's 4 blocks over, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 blocks, my bad. 5. And then we're going to bring it down to put a repeater and dust. Now we're going to do the same thing for this one. And keep in mind this is for the code that I already previously set up. So if you want to change it, you'll change the length, and I'll explain how to do that later. And then this one is 3, 4. Okay, so now that you've got this all set up, we're going to do the top layer first. Well, I'll explain how you change it right now, because that's kind of where the part we're in. So the way it works is the first default slot is 1 redstone dust particle out. And for each one, it gains 1 more dust. So if you turn it all the way to vertical, it'll go out 8 blocks. I don't think that's it though. Oh, never mind. So it'll go out 8 blocks, and you're going to build this line out 1 more than where you want it. So you'll put your torch 1 before this, like so. And that's so that if you, when you turn it, you want to get the pulse so it's exactly on it, like this. 1 more, and it'll turn on the repeater, like that. So that's why you want it 1 before. And now you're going to put redstone down below here. Connect the torches to this so that if either one are on, it's done. So this would be the default that Sethbling came up with. Not necessarily this pattern, but this is the theory. Oops, too far. 1 moment. Okay, there we go. So then once they're all entered correctly, I've only set up the top, and that'll turn this off. If you mess it up by 1, it turns on. So let's re-input it. That one. Okay. So now we're going to do the bottom layer. For the bottom layer, it's basically the same thing, but you're going to go down a block. We're going to need a repeater here as well, here, because that's where I came into the issue with the other one. If you watched the video, it was spazzing out and stuff, so that was my fix for it. And then this one, it was because the dust goes to here now. It extends block, so we're going to extend it here. And keep in mind, you can adjust this however you would like to. This is just how I personally have it set up. So now, if this is set incorrectly, then it'll set this off, which needs to come down a block, and that'll be turned on. So now let's deactivate this. And when you build it, you want to make sure that they can't see the redstone behind, because if they can see the redstone, they can crack it if they know how to. It's fairly simple once you understand it. Okay, so now we've got one of the bottom ones, so we're going to do basically the same thing, except we're going to put this one here, because that's where I had it previously. And now, to do any past the first one, we're going to run into a couple issues. Maybe not past the first one. I don't know. But anyways, we're going to need to put a block there for the dust to run into, just because. And so, we don't want this latching in because that'll just mess it all up, I think. Actually, might not need that, but we're going to keep that there, and then I'll look at it later in the end. So then that one is wired up, I believe, and this is no longer our output. This one is right here, and then we'll put a repeater and block. So now this is on because this isn't in place, and that's in place, and so is this one. We also need to put a repeater one block past where you've got the torch, which is what we've done here. So here's our one block, there's a repeater, there's a torch. And this is so that, like I explained over here, if it lights up one block past, it'll turn on the repeater stuff and deactivate it. So now this is the combination that I have set up. Let's just make sure we've got it correct. Nope, back is wrong. What did we do here? Oh, I've got my repeater there. Let's go that way. No, that doesn't seem right. No, that's wrong. Sorry about this. Oh. Yep. No torch there. That feeds directly into it. My bad. There. And that's it. This is set up. You can change this or slide it over wherever you want. This one doesn't really need a torch. So if I turn it until we're at 0, it only powers this, can't reach here, doesn't turn the repeater on, you're fine. And this works for any of them. If they're off by one position, it's wrong. And number of possibilities for what we've got set up right now, that's 6 to the 8th power, I believe. Yeah, 6 to the 8th power. That'll probably be on the screen somewhere. But anyways, that's how you build it. Oh yeah, I wanted to check out to see if you actually need that. So if you get this wrong, then put it around to there. Okay, yep. I had encountered that problem already because it's creating an infinite loop. So let's just deactivate this. There. And that's how you build it. So you can just keep expanding it as far as you want. It might be a bit difficult because of the underground layers. But yeah. And if you wanted to see how to build Sethbling's original one, without that, I'll quickly show that. It's much simpler. Just do a basic 3-digit or 3-sword combo. So it's basically the same thing, except you don't put the bottom layer in. I'll just do the same combo because it's simple. Set it? Nope. One more over. There. Remember, this you set up to whatever you want. This one's a bit more flexible, but the other one's about twice as compact. Unless you count the size, because you have to dig into it a bit to place a torch. But other than that, well, they both have their own perks and cons to it. So yeah, remember, place the torch, block, repeater. Torch, block, repeater. Torch, block, repeater. It's essential. Just wire up the torch so it's all in the same line. And if you don't understand the concept yet, I'll quickly enter the combo. Oops. This is directly down. This is directly down. Directly down. And then this one was... See, even though the torch might be off earlier, it's still on because it's lighting this up, which lights the repeater. Okay, so anyways, I'm just going to explain the concept one more time. If you have finished, you know how it works, you're ready to go, you can click off now, but if you still want to learn, so this has 8 different outputs, goes into a comparator, so comparators work through newer items that emit a redstone pulse, like trap chests, oh no, normal chests, I think. I believe furnaces, it's mainly like a block update detector, what would be used, but it's just kind of, but that's what one of their uses. So anyways, the default, that emits 1 block, and once it reaches to, okay, so it's right before it, nothing's happened, it hasn't reached this dust here to turn that torch off. So if we press it one more time, it gets here, turns the torch off, turns that line off, turns, and this is no longer emitting. So then you just need to get these 2, which I already have put in. So if you go one past, as you can see, it's lighting this up, which is powering this block. So if I were to do a repeater there, it's powering that block right there, which powers this repeater, which says that password's incorrect. You also want to put a repeater there, just because power only goes 14 blocks. So that's it, I think. Just, yeah. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm also using Fraps now instead of Dxtory due to extremely large file sizes of about 10 minutes would be about 15 gigs, which is a bit ridiculous. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope it's still a good quality video. And this is just as educational. The original was made by Sethbling. See ya.